Hello, this is my poem analysis presentation for Shauna Hayes's college English class. And here with me to help me, I have my friend Josh, and he's going to help me present by being the person I present to. Um, Give me 1 second to get the presentation live. This is an analysis of parallel universes by Dan Hoeweler. This is Dan Hoeweler. He lives in Cincinnati with his support system. He is a felon cook in a kitchen right now, and um, he began writing schizophrenia poetry um, because in around 1999 he was diagnosed with the disorder. Something very similar to schizophrenia, actually. It's called schizoaffective disorder. It's very, very similar to schizophrenia. Um, his poetry relates to society, uh, because his worldview is uniquely altered because of the symptoms of his disability, paranoia, and delusion. Um, Paranoia can trigger uh, your mind to find patterns in things that do not exist. So patterns in information, and then patterns uh, in a series of events. Um, and it can just put together a false narrative, and you will begin to believe it if you don't actually take some sort of action against it, and it can cause you to become very paranoid because you will take it personally. Other times, this is a footnote for me, distress from political situations can be enough to do the same thing, um, which means stress from current events can also be enough to trigger uh, a psychotic episode. Um, Info on schizoaffective disorder. Paranoia. Paranoia is a uh, it's a very prevalent symptom. It's usually an early warning, um, and it doesn't always mean an episode is coming up, but it does mean that an episode could be very easily triggered if you do not try to take action. Uh, Two results that come after paranoia are delusion and isolation. Or you become so paranoid that you isolate yourself, and then you become so isolated you begin to have delusions. Um, the intensity of the delusion can lead to the isolation, and the isolation can also can cause an intense delusion. And the reason I'm struggling to talk about this a little bit is because I have the same disorder, and it's an important part of my life, and all of this is to make sure people understand it as well as I do. Um as well as bring light to the fact that these things just happen sometimes. So if you have any difficulty, let me know in the comments. Um, or Josh, if you have any difficulty, let me know and ask questions during the poem, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Here is the poem. Now, I could read this all out loud, but I could let Dan Howler himself read it to you, because the way I would read it wouldn't have the same tone. So this is Dan Howler's YouTube page itself. So we're gonna give this a quick play. Uh, give it a second to load, please.
Parallel Universes by Dan Hoeweler. The universe I live in is different than yours. I will show you someday, and you will believe in places where death stalks all, where trickery takes place, where deception is king, where demons rule, where everything is cruel. I came here one day through a black hole called knowledge and viewed the world in a different light. When traveling through, I saw the demons that roll everything everywhere all the time. I see them here in this parallel universe that you cannot see, that you cannot hear. They can see those that are not blind. They track everyone who can see the light. They control me. They hear me. They see all. I want to be ignorant again, just like you, but poisoning my mind with strange pills which brainwash me will not let me be free. I wish I was blind and could not see. This world is a curse to everything that I breathe. One day you may discover this parallel world and find yourself in a lot of trouble with demons that see and hear everything that you do, with voices that will torment you. Stay away from the voices, stay away from the light. Don't listen to them, don't think they exist. They will lead you here where I am now, with voices and demons that I fear. Stay ignorant, please, forevermore, or the demons will come and take your soul.
Thank you, Dan Hoeweler. Sorry for saying your name wrong. Um, as you can see, let me get this back into presentation mode. There are several themes that work together in Dan Hoeweler's parallel universes. They work in synergy, which means they work together. Paranoia, the drive behind many of the potent statements that the poem makes. Delusion, the results of paranoia, causing a pattern to appear where it does not belong. Um, a side note is that delusion could possibly lead to psychosis. Delusion is also a side effect of psychosis. Isolation is the result of the delusion. These are all three of the themes: paranoia, delusion, and isolation. The mood of the poem is dark, uh, or, but the three words I will be using specifically, because there's three different, there's different shades of gray. Um, there's gloomy, bleak, or wary. Uh, and then there's poetic devices: hyperbole, deliberate over exaggeration of a description; image, vivid descriptions of visual elements; metaphor, a comparison between two unlike things, uh, to relate them together. So this is the first stanza. Uh, stanza is the group of uh the grouping that it's broken up into for each length of poetry. The universe I live in is different than yours, and it says, I will show you someday, and you will believe in places where death stalks all, where trickery takes place, where deception is king, where demons rule, where everything is cruel. The theme is isolation, the mood is gloomy, hyperbole. The poetic device is hyperbole, where death stalks all. The reason I chose hyperbole is because with schizophrenia, it dramatizes and triggers with schizoaffective disorder. It really both. Um, it amplifies your fear response to these conceptual things that might be happening. Death does not stalk all when you're in a moment of psychosis. It just appears or feels like you are going because your system is in fight flight. It appears like your feelings are becoming a reality. Stanza 2, Reflection and Analysis. I came here one day through a black hole called knowledge and viewed the world in a different light. Theme, paranoia. The mood is bleak. Poetic device, metaphor, comparing knowledge to a black hole. Um, through a black hole called knowledge. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The reason I chose paranoia and bleak, is because this is a very bleak statement. Um, he's beginning to view the world during his psychosis in a very bleak way because he one in this has deliberately stated that he's starting to see the world in a different light because uh his knowledge of the world um is making things a little bit darker. It's causing depression, if that makes sense. When traveling through, I saw the demons that rule everything, everywhere, all the time. The themes, I said they work in synergy, paranoia and delusion. The mood is wary because he is delusional in this. The narrator, which is supposed to be Dan Hoeweler, um, is suffering from delusion, which means he is wary of his surroundings. Um, I saw demons that rule everything. Paints an image of control uh, by something beyond our perception and control. So that means that he believes that uh, genuinely demons do control uh, the odds around him. That has been stated very clearly here. Um, because of the visual hallucinations that happen as a result of schizophrenia and unfortunately what has been going on in the mind. Um, stanza 4, reflection and analysis. I see them here in this parallel universe that you cannot see, that you cannot hear. Theme, isolation, mood, wary, and uh, poetic device, metaphor. I see them here in this parallel universes. He feels trapped here. Um, he's expressing the feeling of feeling trapped, and the more trapped you are, uh, or the more trapped you're feeling, the worse isolation and psychosis can get. Which is why, after a while, when you're stuck in a state of fear, you will become very, very wary. The reason I chose the themes of isolation, delusion, and paranoia, not specifically in that order, is because they are all three part of the most essential DNA strand of psychosis. They are the backbone of an episode. They are the three most important vertebrae. Um, moving on to the next stanza, he expresses feeling trapped because he's outside of reality. Moving on to the next stanza, we see paranoia. Theme paranoia. The mood is bleak once again. Um, all of stanza 5 is a metaphor for someone's eyes who are open to possible psychosis. They can see those that are not blind. They track everyone who can see the light. The light is just someone going through psychosis and seeing hallucinations. Um, so people will begin to act out when they have these hallucinations. It is a guarantee they will act out some way, somehow, and if they don't, they are isolating, which is another form of acting out. They can see is that everybody's most likely. I can't make a blanket statement, but I can say that every person has at least one hallucination that in some way affects them, and in the most extreme cases they respond to you personally. They will sometimes people have had full conversations with someone that does not exist, and that unfortunately is an example of what this is trying to say. It's a less scary example. um, Stanza 6, reflection and analysis. They control me, they hear me, they see all. Theme, delusion, and paranoia. Mood, wary. Poetic device, image. All of stanza 6 represents the delusion of being controlled by a higher power. Or in this case, technically, since he did reference demons. Sorry for my uh sorry for that sound. Since he did mention demons, it is technically um a darker power instead of a higher power. It's just by higher power I meant outside of our control. That's what he believes because he does not have control over the factors that caused his internal shift towards psychosis. He has an effect on himself, but he can't always control the environment that causes psychosis. Now, stanza 7, reflection and analysis. I want to be ignorant again, just like you, but poisoning my mind with strange pills which brainwash me will not let me be free. Theme, isolation and delusion. Mood, wary. Metaphor, but poisoning my mind with strange pills which brainwash me. This is a common delusion. Very common. That medication is full on brainwashing or limiting your mind. That it's doing something to your mind that you cannot control, and it'd be better if you were off of it. It's not. It's not doing that. Um, do not do not stop your medication. This poem at some point it starts to become a warning. It starts to become a warning sign, a list of warning signs after this, uh, to remember not to let these things happen and not to let them take control. Now, we start to see this towards the end of the poem. Stanza 8, reflection and analysis. I was blind and could not see. This world is a curse to everything that I breathe. Theme, paranoia. Mood, wary. Poetic device, hyperbole. This world is a curse to everything that I breathe. Expresses the feeling of being oppressed by the world of delusion he seems to be trapped in. Now that's self explanatory. If you are in a constant state of like suffocating fear and anxiety, that's self-explanatory. It's like having a pillow or cloth constantly restricting your breathing. You eventually learn to get used to it, but sometimes the cloth gets too heavy, and sometimes uh it starts to wear you down, and you do start to feel like this disorder is a curse at some point. Moving on, stanza 9, reflection and analysis. Uh, One day you may discover this parallel world and find yourself in a lot of trouble with demons that see and hear everything that you do, with voices that will torment you. Theme, paranoia. Mood, bleak. Poetic device, metaphor. The entire stanza is a metaphor for the onset of an episode. So, this is where it becomes very evident that this poem is a list of warning signs. An early warning is that you will start to hear things first. In most cases, you will start to hear things first. After a while, um, things will get different. Um, you when you first get psychosis for the first time, you'll usually hear and see things after. Um, After you start to hear and see and really become confused, that's where the torment comes in. Because it's just relentless confusion and misunderstanding of reality and what is happening around you. Paranoia is because one day you may discover this parallel world. He's saying that you're more paranoid, um, that your paranoia will bring you to this moment, to bring you to discovering this world. And the reason it's bleak is because one day someone out there might discover they have this disorder and genuinely not know what to do. Um, and moving on to the next stanza, it links up and it goes, stanza 10, reflection and analysis. Stay away from the voices, stay away from the light, don't listen to them, don't think they exist. They will lead you here, where I am now, with voices and demons that I fear. Theme, paranoia. This is very, very evident that it is a warning. The light, again, is the concept of being curious about what you can see while you are in psychosis. It's sometimes sometimes you can get curious to see, well, what if, it doesn't happen this time? It will happen. If you get off your meds, it will happen. Stay away from the voices, stay away from the light. Don't listen to them. Theme, paranoia. Mood, wary. Poetic device, image. The entire stanza is a depiction of the struggle of uh, visual hallucinations during psychosis. And this stanza specifically is the biggest warning to please God, do the right thing that you need to do to keep yourself out of the situation that you know will hurt you in the future. Stay out of the paranoia. Stay out of the delusions. Stay on your medication. That is what this stanza is meant to say. Stanza 11, reflection and analysis. Stay ignorant, please, forevermore, or the demons will come and take your soul. Meaning, the theme is, sorry, theme, paranoia, and delusion. Mood, worry, poetic device, metaphor. The entire stanza, once again, is a warning for keeping out a very, very, very vigilant eye for the onset of a possible episode. And by an episode, I mean a psychotic episode, and I am not afraid to say that. I am not a professional, but I am diagnosed with this disorder. So most of the things that I say are pretty much exactly what uh, this poem entails. Most of the things that I have gone through are the exact same issues, and here are my sources cited. Um, do you have any questions for me, Josh?
No, uh, no, I did find this really insightful actually. I didn't know the information from the beginning of this presentation. I didn't know about really any of that information, but I felt like it became even relevant to myself. So the understanding of it was really clear.
I'm very thankful to hear that. Thank you for listening in. Um, and I already told you I am posting this. Do you have any preference for private, or would you be okay with me posting this publicly so that everybody would be able to hear it? You are fully anonymous, by the way. I am the one
Oh
that
no,
will
I
be
don't mind.
posting this.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
go ahead.
all right. Um, Thank you so much for your help.
Hmm.
And
Glad I could
again,
help.
this was for Shauna Hayes's English class, college English class. And I would once again like to say thank you for listening and goodbye.